Hello, everyone. This is Sabine Minsky, and today I am joined by Dr. Maria Fotiadou, directly from London. Hello, it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure for me as well.
Sure. So, Maria, you are a happiness expert, and today that will be the focus of our talk. I think it's such an important topic of discerning what that means and how to develop it in our lives. So I'm very glad to have you join us today. You are a positive coach, a positive psychologist, a teacher, and an author to be. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. My background is in health and positive psychology. I worked for many years on these two fields. I started actually working here in England, and then I went back to Greece, and I stayed for 7 years. And I spread the message of happiness, especially because it was a very difficult time for my country.
Absolutely.
And then I decided that it was time for me to start traveling again. So my first stop is in London. And hopefully the next will be Los Angeles. And my main focus is on happiness. Why I like this is that I think that people, if you go out in the streets and you ask people, what do you want to be? And they will tell you, all of them will tell you, everywhere you go around the world, they will tell you that I want to be happy. But if you ask them, are you happy now? They will think that, they will give it a thought about that. They don't really feel it because they haven't really figured out what happiness really means for them. So this is what I help people to do, to help them discover what they really like to do in life and what really makes them happy, and discover all these little things that happen every day that can add to their happiness, that they haven't really realized why they are important.
Okay. Is happiness a thought or an emotion or both? Can we start with some basic definition? What for you is happiness?
It's everything, actually. It's both of them, thought and emotion. It's feeling and thinking positive things, and realizing, actually, not just thinking, oh yeah, the sun makes me happy, my family makes me happy. It's actually to feel it in your heart. It's the connection between those two. So because sometimes we may feel we have things in life and we feel happiness, we feel joy inside us, but we don't really realize where the source is. So we need to realize, to identify all these people and all these things, and ourselves as well, what we have to offer in life and make it better. It's good actually to identify and to realize what makes us happy and feel gratitude about that, and of course try to maintain it, and why not make it even bigger.
Yeah. So is it at the same time an internal thing and an external thing? How do you invite people to discern what makes me happy?
This is an interesting question, and thank you for asking that. I had one of the people that I connect with on social media. He's actually very wealthy, and he has a family, he has everything that he needs in life, he's very successful, and he's a really nice person. But a couple of weeks ago, he sent me a message to ask me, what is happiness? Can you help me to identify it? So we say that we believe that it's the environment, it's something. Happiness is external, but actually happiness is something that comes within, from within. It's something that we build actually inside us, and then everything gets a better meaning, a deeper actual meaning. And so we start from ourselves, we start from our inner world, and then we build. Once we realize what makes us happy, and we realize our personal strengths and what we can offer to the world as well, then we can actually give meaning to anything external as well.
Okay. So is it a little bit like a muscle? And if so, where would it be hidden? How to connect with it inside? Do you have some tips or some advice on that?
I think that the best thing is to look into our heart. And this is the most important, because sometimes we forget about that. We're very busy with our everyday life, and we always, it's very difficult sometimes to find time for ourselves. We're always, it's one of the most common words that people use nowadays is I'm busy. Not words, expressions, I'm really busy, I'm really busy. And this is good. I'm not saying that this is bad, but it's really important to stop and smell the roses at least once in a day. And so once we realize and we live in the now, and we appreciate every single thing that happens to us. And I'm not talking only about the positive things. Even the bad things can give us experience and give us a lesson. So, and we can learn from that. So learn to appreciate, start from gratitude and appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the most important as well is love as well. To love ourselves and love what we do, love others as well, and express it. It's not good to hold it inside us. It's good to express it all the time.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you came to ponder and look into and study and teach happiness? How did that start for you?
It was something actually, when I was 6 years old, I wanted to make the world a better place. And I was actually praying every day, and I was thinking, I really want to find something to help other people to become happier. I didn't know about psychology, but I knew that this was actually something that I really wanted to do. So when I was at Coventry University, I studied with health psychology, and this is really interesting as well, helping people with any kind of illnesses to cope with the situation, and their families as well. Mm-hmm. So I remember that we were preparing to present at international conferences, and one of my colleagues actually found out about the positive psychology conference, and we started studying about that, what is positive psychology, and we found out actually we're doing this kind of research because we're doing quite a lot of research on wellness, quality of life, optimism, and that they are directly related to positive psychology. So when I found out about positive psychology, that is the science of happiness, then I thought, this is actually my field. This is what I want to do. And it helped me personally change my life as well. Mm-hmm. Because everything that I say to other people to do, I put in practice as well. Okay. And this is how I discovered happiness. I mean, the happiness field, the positive psychology field. And since then, I'm 100% satisfied to never leave this field, and because I see that I can make actually other people explore pathways to their own happiness.
Mm-hmm. It must feel good inside to be in that field. So, I mean, if I come back to my own inside workings, there was a long period of time in life where it was really hard to find that positive voice and to give it space. Is that part of the secret to happiness and to finding the positive inside? Like how do you deal with that polarity that we all have inside, and how to give more space?
Bad things and bad times happen actually. I have many bad days, or not just days, periods of time, that they are not the best times of my life. But what I've learned is that to find time to be quiet and explore again what the meaning of my life is. And once I find it, everything becomes more meaningful again. And I become stronger, and I try to learn from the situation. And of course, I know that I'm never alone, and I always try to talk to other people, because, I mean, okay, we're strong, but we don't know everything, and sometimes we need help as well. So it's good to connect with other people and to take all their energy out and get some help as well. I mean, even they are your friends, your family, or experts, if it's something more complicating. And once we get guidance, when we feel actually we belong to a community, we belong to somewhere, we will feel again strength that we're not gonna be lost, in the situation. Yeah. And it's always good. Sometimes when I have a bad day, I ask actually myself, what have you done in the past to overcome this problem? And this actually makes me, I think of identify the problem, but then I look for the solution. Yeah. So once you turn your head, your mind into thinking about solutions, then you think that, okay, maybe I'm stronger actually than my problem, because I know how to deal with it.
Yeah, it feels like you're touching on something which is, we're not here to fake the positive. Is that something that you see people trying to do, is to overdo it and fake it?
I had conversations with people. When I tell them about positive psychology and what I do, they tell me, they get defensive and they tell me, life is not positive all the time or happy all the time. Yeah. And I tell them, of course they're not, because if we don't have, sometimes failures, or we don't have problems, or we don't have bad times, we don't learn sometimes. Life is not just a straight line, of happiness. It has ups and downs, but we learn. It's just to maintain. I mean, if something bad happens, it's always good to keep in our hearts that we have people that give us love, and we have people to love. This is so important. This is amazing. That we wake up, we're alive. That okay, let's start from that. We're alive, and no matter what the situation, I will try to do my best, or ask for help, ask for assistance. And there are a million ways of us to ask for assistance, and I will get through that. And I embrace my emotions, my negative emotions as well, because I need to ask. If I need to cry, I will cry, of course. But once I take this negative energy out, I will make a plan, and I will see myself getting from the other side. And I don't know if you're aware of one of the most important books for me by Viktor Frankl. He was a psychiatrist back in the concentration camp, back in the World War II. Mm-hmm. And he noticed, actually, I mean, it was one of the worst times that ever happened to humanity. And he noticed, actually, that everyone was going through the same situation. It was really hard. They couldn't see, most of the people couldn't see hope, in their life. They knew that was it. Mm-hmm. And but he noticed that the people that survived and the people that managed to maintain a positive attitude, no matter how small, were the people that could see, that could vision themselves on the other side of the story, or they were holding something positive, like their family, or a family member in their mind, or something they wanted to do, a goal that they had in life, that they were thinking, that they were saying that I still have things to do. I will go strong. I will be strong, and hopefully I will get out of that. Mm-hmm. And this was the one most common thing that he recognized. He noticed in all of the prisoners in Auschwitz.
Mm-hmm. Now, perhaps some of our listeners are in the place where it's really hard to start. So can we speak to these listeners who every day find it a struggle? How to start simple, small things, how to start developing happiness and positive thinking?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes it is very hard to start something. As I said, that try to hold a small, tiny, if you can do it even in a bigger scale, that's even better. Just try to hold some hope inside you and optimism, to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And what this means, that you have tried to configure what actually, even 1 to 5, I'm not going to ask for more, because sometimes it's very difficult to find, I know, but it's not impossible to find at least 5 things that hold you strong in life, like your health, or some people in your life, or a job, or a dream, or even the sun outside, you know. Try to figure out, make every day a list of the positive things that hold you strong every day. And they keep you alive, and they keep you trying again and again and again. And there are millions of stories around the world of people that went through really bad times, but actually they managed to get through them, and they were successful in any way, in love, in relationships, in jobs, and in anything they did in their life. So know that you're stronger than your problem. This is the most important thing. Even it's very difficult to believe, you're not alone, and you are much, much stronger than your problem. Believe me, I mean, I've seen so many people going through difficult times, and now they live a really nice life.
So sometimes getting inspiration is a very good start, and you are actually the curator of the Life Treasure collection.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
When I was in Greece, actually, it was especially at the beginning of the economic crisis. For those people that don't know, my country, the last 7 years is going really a really difficult time. Economic, it's mainly economic problems. So I could see people that they were doing really well in life. Going through these change made them feel really very depressive and miserable, and they lost hope. And I felt really bad, because it was something external, you know, it was something that was coming from outside, and it was influencing their own life as well. So I thought, okay, I need to speak to these people and find out what they achieved in the past, to empower and give strength to other people, to them and other people as well, to take their stories, because I believe that there are everyday heroes around the world, and we just need, they haven't really realized what they have achieved in their life. And I want to help these people realize their strength, and how brave they are, and to tell them that, you know, your story can give strength to other people as well. So I started looking for these people, and this is a website for everyday heroes, where they went a difficult time, but they managed to get through and become stronger and more positive and happy again.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the stories that have touched you the most? Is there a particular one that comes to your mind that you'd like to share?
There is a story actually that I'm going to publish later today. It's from a girl called Chrisa, and many years ago she lost in an accident. She lost her brother, but she managed to find meaning through this story, to find strength, and now she gives strength to other people as well. And she gives a really positive message to other people that, you know, no matter what the situation, no matter what you lose in life, there is so much that you can gain. So she explains through her story what the lesson was from this story, and how she managed from a really painful experience to find strength and meaning again.
Mm. Have you found in your experience over the years that resilience comes to people who have gone through difficult times?
You know, when you go through difficult times, you have two options. One is to accept the situation and just leave it like that, and the other is to believe that you can actually, if you cannot change the situation, at least you can change yourself, and find resilience, and find optimism again, and find something positive, and give it to other people as well. So learning is the first step, and then sharing it with other people is the second. This is how you find strength and resilience, I believe.
Okay. Is sharing through talking or through giving forward? What do you mean by sharing? Can you explain?
To talk about your story, because, you know, when you open up to the world and talk about your own story, and that you're not like, you weren't born like strong, you became strong through all these experiences that you went through your life so far. So to give not only by talking, you can express your story, but then at the same time you can give as much as you can to people in need, like to give love, to give not just money. Some people can give money, but it's not only when we talk about giving, quite a lot of people think that it has to be something material, it's not, doesn't have to be something like that. It can be like, even a smile can change the world. But to take the decision that from now on, we never know what the other person is going through. So it's important to share smile and kindness and compassion and love. So this is what I mean by giving.
Mm-hmm. Now, if we go more in the specificity of women's vibration and the type of difficulties that you see women facing in their path of self-development, what type of women come to you, and do you see any patterns in their struggles?
Sometimes what I found is that from the women that I talked so far, that they find it very difficult to find balance between wanting to create and be successful in what they do,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time have a family, have a social life, and take care of everything else. So, because many women have been told so many times that you cannot do both. You cannot create a nice life, a nice relationships, blah blah blah, and at the same time have a really successful career. So this, as we grow up, we keep this in our minds. It's something, a battle that we have to fight. It's just the battle between those two. But I have to say that I've seen so many women being successful in everything and finding balance at the same time. So it is possible. And yeah, this is the most important issue, I believe.
Okay. And what are some of the avenues that you offer to them to first realize that they can have it all, and how to build that little by little in their life?
Mm-hmm. You said actually the right expression. Small steps, little by little. Small steps are very powerful, actually. Because sometimes we want everything to happen really quick, and sometimes we get disappointed because of that, because things don't happen next day. So be patient. Try to give. First of all, it's very important to take time out of everything you need, and just be with yourself, spend time with yourself, and time to time just go through your goals in life and what makes you actually really happy. And if you find that something is not satisfying as much as it used to be in the past, you don't have to follow it, and you don't have to do it again. You don't have to do everything at the same time as well, just to prove something to others. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. You just need to follow your path, do what you love, and take small steps, and you will reach the things that you want to reach. This is something that will happen definitely.
I was wondering, do you have a happiness routine in your own life?
Mm-hmm.
Apart from smelling the roses at least once a day.
Yeah, I do actually. I do. And in the morning, I use affirmations quite a lot. I have a notebook, and I write really powerful sayings by other people that make me feel good. And sometimes, if I have an idea, if I have inspiration, I write my own as well. And I read this quite often. And no, not quite often, actually. Every day I go through, not all the things that I have written ever, but at least some of them. So I start my day with some positive affirmations and something that will make me feel good and strong, and that I can create, and I can have a nice day. And I go through that, and I use at least 5 minutes of meditation as well in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very helpful as well. I use guided imagery where I can travel to a really peaceful, beautiful place. And this actually builds positive emotions, because many people say that if you wake up with positive feelings and mindset, this is how your day will go. And this is true, actually. Many people say that if something happens in the morning, something bad, oh, this is how the day will be, the rest of the day will be. But I have to say, no. I mean, if you believe that you can do the opposite, you can start with positive affirmations, with some meditation. If you don't have time, at least use the affirmations. Have them have a paper somewhere that you can see that every day. Even you can stick it in your bathroom, on your bathroom mirror, and you can read them there while you're brushing your teeth. It doesn't take much time, but this is really, really powerful. I've seen even teenagers changing from one day to another just because they use these positive affirmations.
Now, tell me a little bit about your space that you go to. Would that have anything to do with Fiji?
Oh, yeah. What was one of the best things that ever happened to my life.
Would you like to share about that experience?
Of course.
I find it amazing.
I love talking about that. This was actually, it happened sometime in August 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out from Mark Bowness. He lives in Australia. He's English, and he lives in Australia. He's a coach, and he had this advert about people advertising about Fiji, asking people that had a dream, that had a project that will eventually potentially change the world in a positive way. He was inviting them to take part in this competition. So I thought, yeah, this is for me. And it was Fiji, come on. And so we had to go through a procedure. We had to prepare a video and to send a proposal of our project as well, of our vision, how we wanted to change the world. And out of 3,500 people, me and another 5 actually won the competition. Mm-hmm. And we had the chance to spend 2 amazing weeks in Fiji. This was a remote island in South Pacific, and the island is called Voro Voro. Mm-hmm. And so we met the tribe of the island there, and it was a complete amazing experience, because it was something out of what we experience every day. For example, there wasn't electricity or water. They were collecting the rainwater to have showers, and mm-hmm. and we're living in small wooden houses, and next to the wildlife next to the jungle and the wildlife, and next to the shore of South Pacific. So every day we took training, business training. Mark Bowness and Ryan gave us the training, and they are both coming from Australia. Me, Kim, Ben, Dan, Alistair, and Roxanne were there. The 6 of us. All of us with a different dream that we want to change the world. So we received this training. We went through challenges, because the goal is to get us to be out, to live 2 weeks outside of our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So we received this training, and we tried to find out how we can get our project work. And we're still in the process building our projects, and soon you will find out the results. It was amazing. It was something that outside of what we've already experienced in life so far.
Could you share some of the essence of your dream with us, or is it still in the wraps?
My project, you mean the project?
Mm-hmm.
This is actually, I'm preparing an online course, a happiness course, and I haven't got the launch date yet, but we will we will announce it actually soon. I'm still in the process of building my course. Most of it actually is already done, but I need to complete it and then talk more about this project. So I will help people that go through depression or anxiety or stress go on this course and get all the tools they need and the techniques to build a really happy life.
Well, it's actually really, funny in one way that you would speak about that, because I would actually like to dedicate our talk today to my brother, who goes through very serious anxiety, generalized anxiety, and who's not into spirituality, but open enough to psychology and the different pathways to it. So that might actually be something that he might be open to. So I'll make sure to keep in contact with you about that.
Yeah, anything I can help, of course, I can let you know more about it.
Absolutely.
Soon.
So the, out of 3,500 people, you were one of the 6 who were chosen.
Yes, and it was, 3 of the people, Ben, Kim and Dana, were from Australia, Alistair from the UK, and Roxanne from New York. And we didn't know each other, but we bonded so well and became really good friends. And it was, and I told you that we went through challenges as well, like swimming for 3 hours in the Pacific Ocean. Next to, there were sharks and snakes around, but I didn't want to know. And doing team building work and finding out ways on how to build a successful business.
Mm-hmm. So going through these types of challenges, is that something that you find important when we want change in our life? What do you feel is the importance or the meaning of going into our discomfort?
The meaning is that you will see that you are much more capable of achieving things. I never thought that I will do things that I've done in Fiji before. I remember that I had to go through, because something that I never dealt with was my phobias with snakes and insects. So Ben Descent, he's a wildlife expert in Australia, in Sydney. So he helped me get close to snakes and spiders, and I have pictures of that, and people that know me couldn't even believe it. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me before that, I will say that I will never do this in my life. But even it was something actually was stopping me for doing many things, and just when you're scared of something, it stops you. Even you don't see snakes every day, but even in the thought, you feel like, it was a deeper actually message that never say no, never say that you cannot do anything. There is always a way, and there is always a right time to do something. And I wouldn't have done things if I didn't have, of course, the rest of the team next to me. So this is something that I said in the beginning of our interview, of the discussion, that you're never alone. You have other people that can help you. And something that I want to say something really important. I have many people saying to me that I feel so lonely and nobody wants to help me. Nobody understands me. And I always say to them, have you asked them actually? Have you told them about your problem? Sometimes they say no. So I say to them, most of the people have problems and worries in their minds. So just tell them. Maybe they don't know, or they don't know how to help you. Or maybe if they're not the right people, they're not the only ones next to you. Find other ones. Find other people that will be willing to give you help and advice, and even just to listen to you. This is helpful as well.
Mm-hmm. You're actually opening up the door on one of the questions I wanted to ask you. You're a ray of sunshine, and a lot of the people who are listening to us today are very, very sensitive people, highly sensitive. And one thing that I'm asked a lot is, how do I deal with people who are bringing me down, who have negative energy, how to interact, how to choose when to step away, or not be absorbed in cycles. Do you have some suggestions on that?
Yeah, I can understand why this can be a really complicating and difficult task for many people. So first of all, ask yourself, is it the other people that behave like that, or is it you that you believe that you think that they are against you?
Mm-hmm.
Ask yourself, do they have a personal problem? Maybe shall I talk to them? It depends if they're colleagues of yours, friends, family, or some strangers in the street, If you feel free, ask them, is everything okay? If you need any help, I'm here. Or do you want to discuss anything with me? I can see that you're a bit stressed out, or you're a bit, I don't say you like you used to be, you've changed.
Mm-hmm.
Different kind of questions or things that won't make them angry, but they will make them feel like, they will make them open up and get in and communicate with you. But there are some people, you're right, there are some people that don't get, they're just, they may be negative without any reason towards you. They have the personal issues possibly. So what I say is focus on the people that really matter. And if you cannot if you have to see these people in your house, in your office, or anywhere you go, and it makes you feel bad and negative and stressed, so what you can do is keep a distance and be quiet. Don't pay attention. Try to engage yourself with other people, or with something else, with some other kind of activities. And or playing your hair if you find it, because some people tell me, I have this person next to me and I don't know why he's always criticizing me, or he's angry with me, and I don't know what to do, and it influences me and my mood, and he gives me negative vibes, so I don't know what to do. And I say, start with playing a happy song in your head. Try this little thing, or try to bring a couple of people that make you smile in your head, just to press, and just to click and change slightly your mood. And ask yourself, why am I letting this person influence me in that way? Why do I think that my positive energy is it's less than the negative energy that the other person brings me? So try to see the situation with understanding. Possibly that the person is going through something and takes his anger to other people, So try to understand the situation. Try to think that we're only humans and sometimes things happen. Try to communicate. If this is impossible, focus on some other things, and believe that your positive energy is much stronger than any negative energy. So instead of letting other people influence you, say that, okay, I will spread my positive energy and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. One of the key concepts that come out from this is the importance of daring to communicate truthfully and profoundly. Is that one of your big values? Mm-hmm. And something that you invite people to do a lot of, to dare to start communicating more profoundly?
Yes, I ask people to communicate because people make assumptions and they judge, and they come to conclusions without even. And I say that, how did you think that? Have you actually talked to the other person? No, but I know that the person. Know what he's like. I know that this is why he does it or she does it. And I say, how are you 100% sure? And I'm trying to actually go through some questions and make them think that maybe I'm not 100% sure. Maybe there is a chance that that person is not thinking like that. It's not the bad person that I have in my mind. And I'm not saying that, okay, there are people that their intentions are not always good, but most of the cases it's just miscommunication, I believe.
Do you have some favorite reads or resources on communication and improving that skill that come to your mind?
that come to my mind, like techniques, like from positive psychology techniques. The first thing I always ask the people that I work with, or even my friends and family, is to start communicating more with themselves. Because when you start engaging more and more and more, and if maybe sometimes only with other people, it means that ask yourself, have I lost actually communication and connection with myself first? Because when so try to communicate, and when I say communicate, it's like to write down what you really want in life, what really makes you happy, what makes you not so happy. I mean, to say actually, do you know yourself that well? Do you know, are you still connected to your goals and what you want to achieve in life? And when I say achieve, many people think about success in work and anything you do, but it's not only that. You can succeed in relationships and personal life, personal achievements, and personal growth, I want to say. So first of all, one of the techniques I ask people to do is to stand in front of the mirror and look themselves in their eyes and stay there for at least 5 minutes and say something, talk to themselves, just to pay attention to details, how they look like, how they feel like. And once that you start doing that, and I recommend this to do it quite often, not in a very, selfish way, or, I'm the best. I mean, you can say that you're the best, but not in a really arrogant way, in a nice way. Once you do that, you will find actually that the communication levels that you have with other people will actually increase and become better. Because you will start knowing better who you are, who you truly are.
To going through our layers.
Yes.
What if people who start doing that exercise go into the criticizing mode? How do you invite them to cut that short?
When they start criticizing themselves and others, or just themselves, you mean?
Themselves, looking in the mirror.
Themselves. Yeah. When you look in the mirror, or sometimes people don't like that, and I ask them to hold a picture of themselves that they love. When you start criticizing, because we play this voice all the time, and sometimes this little voice is quite negative. One important thing that I say to everybody, really, really important, is become your best friend. So once you keep this in your mind, you will always talk in an encouraging and positive way to yourself. You don't need the negative talk, because it stops you from doing things. It stops you from creating positive relationships. And so be your best friend and ask yourself sometimes, if I had someone in front of me telling me all these things that I'm thinking in my head, would I like them to be my friend or not? So you will understand actually if your inner talk, if your inner voice is a positive one or a not so positive one.
Maria, you are like a little bottle of positivity. It's been such a pleasure to speak with you today. It's like, I wish I could start my day and fill up a bottle and go around with it. Now,
listen to you. Yeah.
Now, you're inviting our listeners to join your website, your email list, so that you can share with them some strength exercises. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, please?
Yes, many times it's very hard for us to explore what our strengths are. We struggle sometimes to think, oh, what are the positive sides of me? What are my strengths? We know we're very easy to point out the bad things, but so I help actually people to explore, even they know their strengths, to explore even better and go even deeper. So I will share with everyone a very easy technique and very entertaining and I will explain more. Once they subscribe, I will send them the technique and I will explain more. And they can always ask me questions for further information. I will send them this exercise. I will give them the steps, what they have to do. And it will help them explore better their strengths and what other people like in them as well. So they will be surprised actually once they find out, once they receive feedback from other people. But I will give them a list. I will help them, give them a list so they don't have to think of anything by themselves. I mean, I will help them with that.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a great pathway to discovering more about this communication and what's in our heart and how to expand it.
Exactly.
So, Maria, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's been a pleasure for me as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.